5 o'clock.
Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a special, this adjourned meeting of the City Council. Tuesday, we held the City Council meeting. We adjourned it because we have some carryover items. Roll call.
Councilmember Garcia. Councilmember Kennedy's absence is noted. Councilmember Vias.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McEachron.
Here.
Mayor Cox.
Here. Before we really get too started on this, there is no one in the audience to talk to council about any items, and so unless someone shows up, we will probably not have any public comments. We have a conference with legal counsel. Does that involve, number A, an item that I am participated from, that I can participate in?
No, unfortunately, item A would create a conflict. Again, it pertains to golf course activities, and therefore, because of your residence on the golf course, you'd have a conflict.
And then item B would also be a conflict?
That is correct, along with actually items 1, 2, and 3 on the written agenda.
Then the only item that I can participate in, it appears, is item number 4. This is for a proposed urgency interim ordinance to impose a moratorium for certain businesses. Since I am prohibited from participating, I can wait until the end of the meeting and participate in that, or with council's permission, we can move number 4 to the head of the agenda, and then I will be able to participate in that, and then declare the conflict for the remaining items.
I agree.
Motion for that?
You have the prerogative with the consensus.
Okay. We're all in agreement. We'll consider item 4 at this time. Who's going to present this?
I've prepared the staff report. Essentially what this is in connection with a request from staff, is to adopt or consider the adoption of an urgency interim ordinance dealing with basically a short-term moratorium on cash checking type businesses. In fact, Chris is here, so Chris can expand on this. We're doing item number 4 right now, which is the interim ordinance. What we've set up here is an interim ordinance urgency item. If you were to adopt this, it is in effect essentially for 45 days, and within that period of time, we would study the issue and then come back to you. You would have to adopt a second ordinance within that 45-day period to establish a 6-month period of time, which basically puts a moratorium on the issuance of any business licenses with respect to these cash checking facilities. Also, similar uses are the auto loan facilities, where essentially financial entities are providing short-term loans in lieu, or in part of the transaction is that they would receive collateral by way of the pink slip on the cars. If the applicant is unable to repay the loan, then they would take title to the car. That's and the city, Chris, I understand there are several of these, or there is an indication that there would be several of these in the works to seek approval in your C2 zones. Your zoning ordinance at this point is not very specific as to how to rule on these items. However, staff has over the years consistently indicated an unwillingness to allow these types of uses based on who they report to, which financial institutions they report to. Chris, would you like to add anything? Or
But yes, the land use table says banks, or it said banks and financial institutions. Ryan probably remembers this. In 2005, we took the issue to the Planning Commission and asked them if what we were interpreting as these aren't financial institutions was correct, and the Planning Commission agreed at that time. And so we've been using our interpretation of a financial institution to be more similar to a bank and a credit union, not these type of facilities. I don't know if you want any more background. There have been studies done. I didn't know to bring this type of material because the moratorium is kind of, we're using our determination to say that they're prohibited already. The moratorium is to help us because Andre feels like the definition isn't a very solid way. So, but there are studies done that show these things impact property values in the neighborhoods. They raise crime rates. They this one's payday lenders fuel crime, drive down property values. This one says study blames crime rates on payday loan lenders. So there's been a number of studies done on these type of businesses and their impacts on a city. So we can get you more information, but it's been
Chris, this
well
wouldn't
documented.
prohibit any existing. It's just
Exactly.
prevent any new from being approved and going through the process of getting permitted.
Correct.
And staff has consistently denied these applications. Again, there is a pending challenge out there based on essentially the lack of specificity in your zoning ordinance. That is my concern, is that the zoning ordinance isn't specific enough to determine whether or not these are appropriate uses in C2. The purpose of the moratorium would be to study it for 6 months and determine if they are appropriate, even where they could be placed, or to eliminate them entirely.
Is 6 months the norm for a moratorium? Is it required, or is it what someone has chosen?
It is basically a recommendation of our office. Typically, moratoriums go in place for a year, but we don't think this is such a significant issue in terms of the ability to study it. We think we can study it and get some responses within a 6-month period of time. But you would also have the option, if you would adopt tonight's ordinance, that when you take the second ordinance in 45 days, you could turn it into a 1-year moratorium, or even up to 2 years of a moratorium.
Comments from council members?
I'm willing to study it.
I'm willing to study it because I was told that a specific business actually left because of a similar business next door, and that they felt that it so interfered with the business because of the people who were coming there and then wouldn't leave and then were bothering their customers, that they shut down and moved. The problem with that is that I was told that, but I never saw a document or any documentation that they were willing to sign or give to me. I've heard similar stories. Again, I have no documentation. And normally I'd be very, very reluctant to have the city determine who can open and who can't. These are kind of unique. I talked a little bit with the Sheriff's Department, who confirms that there are problems greater than normal, but at this time they don't have the ready available data, but they believe they submitted in a very short period of time. So with that, I'm more inclined to grant the study time. My concern is, are there applications on the counter now that are automatically going to be held up for 6 months?
No, the application that Andre referred to has already appealed our determination that they're not allowed.
Okay.
So they will be coming through that process to the Planning Commission, then I imagine to the council if the
All right.
Planning Commission denies it as well.
All right.
Also, Mayor Cox, if I might, there are specific findings and determinations set forth both in the staff report and specifically in the resolution, and it's important that your motion indicate that if you agree to adopt it, you are adopting it based on the findings and determinations set forth in the resolution.
Yes. If council agree and there's a motion, that should be part of the motion based upon the findings and determinations contained in the resolution that's before the council.
So moved.
I'll second. Do we have to read the ordinance?
It's an urgency interim ordinance. You have to at least read the heading, right? Okay.
An urgency interim ordinance of the City Council of the City of Victorville pursuant to California Government Code Section 65858, adopting a moratorium on any money service business.
And correction, I think I said resolution. I was looking right at the ordinance when I said that. I should have said ordinance. Sorry about
There's a motion and a second to adopt
that. Okay.
And wait for the reading.
and wait for the reading.
We have roll call, please.
Councilmember Garcia?
Roll call.
Um,
I mean, voting by.
Voting.
We're doing voting, yes.
Sorry.
Is your vote a yes? Councilmember Vyas?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McEachron?
Yes.
Mayor Cox?
Yes. Now,
Motion
at that
carried.
point, since that concludes what I can participate in, I will declare my conflict as proposed by the city attorney and turn the meeting over to Mayor Pro Tem McEachron, who becomes the chair of this meeting. I understand I have to actually leave the chamber and everything, so.
All right, Andre, we do have 2 closed session items. We're going to handle those first and then come back out. Is that the plan?
Yes, please. There are 2 closed session items, items A and B. Item A is anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9 D4, and it pertains to one potential case. The second item is real property negotiations pursuant to Government Code 54956.8, pertains to Green Tree Golf Course with the address and the negotiating parties set forth on the agenda, and we will report any reportable action at the conclusion of the closed session.
All right, we'll now go in closed session. All right, we'll call the City Council meeting back to order. We're back in open session, and I'll turn to our City Attorney. Is there anything reportable out of closed session?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem McEachran. With respect to item A, there is nothing reportable at this time. With respect to item A, I would just report that a determination has been made that we are unable at this point to enter into a lease transaction based on technical tax consequences, and that we hope to enter into a lease transaction along the same kinds of terms that we have been negotiating. However, you will notice on your agenda as item number 3, there is a request to approve a lease operation and management agreement that actually should now just be deemed a operation and management agreement.
All right. We'll move into written communications. Agenda item number 1, this is a request the City Council adopt the Green Tree Golf Course annual budget for fiscal year 2014-2015. Mr. Metzler, is there anything you'd like to add on this?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, just really quickly, this item was presented separately from the general budget, largely due to the conflicts of 2 members of the council. But just to summarize the budget, that this is a budget from the general fund. It's totaling $764,115. And just to break down how that works, $214,500 represents the amount for the irrigation lease payment. We have 2 more payments to make on that, and they're annual payments, so that soon will fall off. The remaining amount is about $550,000. $450,000 represents the subsidy that's envisioned in the transaction with Sierra Golf Management, and then the residual $100,000 is roughly what's believed to be necessary to close out some of the transitionary effects of BCG.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the budget for the golf course.
So moved.
Second? Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that has passed. Agenda item number 2, this is a request City Council approve amendment number 2 to the General Services Provider Standard Service Agreement with Billy Casper Golf for professional management services for the Green Tree and West Winds golf courses. Is there anything you'd like to add on this, Mr. Metzler?
I'd just like to identify that this amendment number 2 is a termination for convenience, and it does identify funds in the order of $4,461 and change to support the closeout of their operation, which would be effectively at 9 a.m. on Monday morning, June 30th.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on agenda item number 2.
So moved.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that item passes. Finally, agenda item number 3. This is a request the City Council approve the lease and the operation and management agreement with Sierra Golf, and to allow for changes as approved by the city manager and the city attorney if needed, non-substantive type changes.
Correct. We have a draft before you on the dais of the document right now, but we will probably have some fine-tuning to be done.
All right, anything else to add on that one?
Nothing further to add other than it does identify $450,000 as a subsidy, and that's the same $450,000 identified that's a part of the budget.
I'll entertain a motion on agenda item number 3.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, that item has been approved. Having no other business before the City Council, we are adjourned.
Thank you.